In a world where mental health matters, through Food for Thought, we aim to create awareness and empower individuals to take charge of their mental well-being. Join us as we delve into the complexities of mental health and navigate the path towards healing and resilience. Food for Thought with Professor David Bitte.
Are they 6 or 7 types of gender-based violence? I lived to see them. So if we talk of physical violence, I was beaten. I was beaten, black and blue. I was beaten to an extent that I lost a huge chunk of my hair, which is now growing back. There are photos of bruises when we were reporting to the police stations. So physical violence, going even to report, I have countless of OBs, of physical beatings, of which now when you report back then to the police station, they would tell you, hizi ni mambo za nyumbani, mwende msuruhishe. So physical violence was actually rampant because it reached a point where when we hear his vehicle driving in, everybody scatters. If my house girl was in the kitchen, she goes to her room. My daughter to her bedroom. Me, I go to the kitchen because when he walks in, either he's in the sitting room or going to the bedroom. So we don't want to stay anywhere near him because he will walk in and we don't know what he's walking in with. We lived to see when he walks in, it's just to walk. Verbal violence was, can I say, I don't know even how to compare because both are crazy. We can't say physical and verbal, there is anything which is lesser than the other. Because you are a faithful woman, you have lived in your union or your marriage faithfully. This man has been cheating on you and he comes and calls you a prostitute. You know? So that thing will hit you. And to maybe women who are not strong, you might even wind up committing suicide. So these are not small names that men should take lightly when they are calling women. So such names came. I think like a goat. I am a brainless woman. There is nothing I can achieve. And remember, these things are being told sometimes to my daughter. But look at it this way. I've been boxed for over 18 years in such an environment. So one way or another, even if I'm trying to brush off what I've lived to hear, it still haunts you. Every time, even if I'm out of my marriage, I'm still remembering. Sometimes you sit and remember something and even cry, you know? So you're left bleeding, you're left crying, you're left hating yourself. As a woman, I believe any woman who has undergone that, they can really understand psychologically what it does to you. Psychological violence to me came strongly because of the threats, the death attempts. And during that particular time is when now he had intensified his now external war using the microfinances to finish me off. Because you remember now, when auctioneers are following you, you have sleepless nights. During that time, I was suffering from panic attacks. Remember, when I was leaving my marriage, I had heart condition issues. At a point, I had suffered a mild stroke, the blood pressure, all sorts, all those stress-related diseases.
Food for Thought with Professor David Bitte.
It's another opportunity for us to have conversations about mental health. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been focusing on gender-based violence. My name is James Okumu. This is Food for Thought with Professor Ndete. And on this episode, we want to look at the impact of gender-based violence. Professor, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
We appreciate your time and the wealth of information that you've been giving us over the weeks. It's really helpful.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about the impact of gender-based violence. You know, there's the clip that there's a lady who's been telling her story as we have been talking about this. And, you know, you can see the impact on her life because of what she went through. But I know you talk to people, you see these things, you help people, you point people in the right direction. What are some of the impacts that you have seen?
Well, let's talk about an impact that nobody talks about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the clip. I mean, the lady was talking about the impact on her.
Yes.
But the other more important. Well, I'm not saying she's not important.
Yeah.
or anybody in that situation is not important. There is somebody who is very important, and that is the child in the family.
Oh, yes.
Not only that, listen to me very carefully. It's not the living child who is sitting in the sitting room who is adversely affected. It is the baby in the stomach.
Oh.
Yes, it's been shown repeatedly, and I say this quite often, that whatever happens to the mother who is being subjected to violence, it causes stress.
Yes.
And we can see the effects of the stress on that particular mother. But one of the things that happens when people are stressed, they produce high levels of substance called cortisol. Now, this cortisol crosses the blood placenta barrier and it goes to the baby. To the baby. And if it happens at a time when the vital organs, particularly in the first trimester, the first 3 months of pregnancy, it can adversely affect the development of the nerves in that baby.
Wow.
And it's been shown that women who experience traumatic events, particularly in the first trimester, have higher chances of giving birth to children who have not only emotional disturbances, but also physical disturbances. And for those people who think that abortion is the right of a woman, it is also the right of the child, because that is a living child. Just because you are carrying that child in your stomach, in your womb, I'm talking using lay language, does not mean that your rights are completely exclusive of the rights of the baby that you are carrying in your stomach. It does not. It's a living organism that is able to actually follow the emotions of the mother, to follow, even to recognize some voices and things like that. Does not mean that he's saying that. That's what science is.
Yeah.
Now, assuming that this baby is born and goes all the way to be born, and they are there, if the baby or the child is there, and is perceiving what is happening between the husband, the father, and the mother at that particular time, is going to affect him. And I just said, if I haven't said, let me say it again. Experiencing or witnessing violence in the family is one of the most important adverse childhood event that happens in that is something terrible that should not be happening to that child. Now, the interesting thing is a child who has been subject to several or some very strong adverse child events, and in this case, in this context of our discussion, is witnessing violence between the father and the mother. This child is more prone to develop psychiatric or mental health issues as an adult.
Wow.
So it has got long-term effects. Not only that, this child is programmed or has higher chances of being more prone to infections, many other physical conditions. So that is a very important aspect in when we are talking about violence, the effects of violence within the family. And then, of course, we have talked about the fetus or that unborn child. We have talked about the child who is growing in that kind of an environment. Then the other person, of course, is the mother or the father who is adversely affected. They get depressed, they get irritable, they are stressed. We know stress, which is very, very dangerous because it can lead to very many physical conditions. It can lead to hypertension, diabetes, cancer, all kinds of things. So it is terrible. It's something that is more important than we just realize. More important than we realize because of the consequences that it can have on those at these different stages. Fetus, child, adult, and then this adult leading to very many complications in that person. I think this world will be so much better. I don't know, maybe it will only happen during the millennium time.
Yes.
When there will be no stress in the lives of people. So basically, I think I have answered your question.
Yes.
It is pervasive. It comes from before being born all the way to adult. In the adult, when this person is stressed, can develop depression, it can precipitate anxiety, can precipitate many other conditions. Yeah, so pervasive.
Okay,
Yeah.
There's something you've mentioned there. I'm just curious. So for somebody who grew up in a home where they witnessed violence, they may think it didn't affect them, but it did, and it might present in some way later in life.
Absolutely.
So what do they need to do about it?
I think it's exactly what you are doing. First of all, I think this kind of discussion will touch somebody, somebody somewhere there, or somebody will know. I know a friend of mine who went through this, and I think because of what happened in the family, it's possible this is what is happening to this person. I think the most important thing is awareness that it could be happening.
Yes.
It may be you who has got that, who generates that kind of awareness, maybe from the discussion that we're having, from what they have heard, from what they have read, or it could be a friend who is seeing this in one of his friends.
Yeah.
The way forward is, if it is happening, or it is expected that it has happened, don't stay with it. Talk it out. Find somebody trustworthy that you can have time. They can give you time. Somebody who is going to be my brother's keeper.
Okay.
And I think that's the way we should be going. Let me just say, and I keep on saying, talking about this. There is no reason why anybody should have an excuse by saying, I don't have the money. I don't have the money to go and see a specialist or this kind of a person where I have to pay. There are so many people, very well-meaning people, who have the time and can find the time for you, and they are willing to do that. I mean, you just go to the communities, how they give you time to talk to them, and they listen and they want to help. So you should have no excuse by just sitting on this thing and doing nothing about it. Find somebody to talk to. Yeah.
I'm curious about a man who's experiencing violence at home, be it physical or emotional, but because of the stigma associated with it, they don't talk to anybody. How will that end up affecting them in the long run?
It will affect them because they are keeping it up.
Yeah, they're keeping it inside. Yes.
Yeah, as long as it is there, it's going to. You are prone to be affected in different ways. As we said last time when we talked about stress. People take different trajectories.
Yes.
You don't know what trajectory you as an individual will take. But the thing is, if you notice that it is happening, go and talk to somebody. Men are like that. They go through this thing. They don't want to talk about it because of stigma. Even if you don't, we are not saying go and talk to everybody.
Yes.
Why don't you just find somebody you can confide in?
Yeah. And talk to them.
And talk to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My time is up, my friend. I know we still have a lot we need to talk about, but we'll be wrapping up this series in the next episode. Remember, once again, if you are in the situation that we are discussing and talking about, like Professor has said, find help. There are people who are willing to help. Talk to somebody. Talk to your pastor. Talk to a trusted friend. If your parents are still alive, talk to your parents. Talk to somebody. Yeah, don't keep it on the inside. Even if you're a man and you're going through abuse at home, talk about it. Because the more we talk about it, the more we find solutions. Until next week, as we conclude this discussion, do have a great day and God bless you.
Food for Thought with Professor David Bitte.